So you got your 6 long ones. You've got your 4 medium and your 2 small. And with that, you need to assemble this. And there's, you can use liquid glue for this, or you can use a tape runner for this. I think those would be the 2 that I would suggest. If you wanted to use glue dots, you could probably use glue dots. I used tape runner on mine, and it seems to be holding together pretty good. I am using the Mono Air tape runner, but you could certainly use the Stamp and Seal probably just as well, or the Stamp and Seal Plus. But I use the Mono. So how do you make these loops? So you're going to take your piece and you're going to decide which side you want on the outside and which side you want on the inside. So because this one I made with the sort of lighter side on the outside, I'm going to go ahead and make the green the darker. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the 2 ends and you're going to fold them on top of each other. Okay, so you're not going to fold them like this. You don't want to do that. You want to take the right side and fold it so that it's sitting on top of the left side. So that you get this sort of loop section here, and you've got the inside being the same as being shown through. So again, you're not going like this, except for one of these loops. You're laying it, you're twisting it on top of itself. And that's where you're going to put your adhesive. Now you can make these as tight as you want or as loose as you want. I found that if I just line up the edge here with the edge on the other side, I get a nice shape. So I'm lining up this short edge with this short edge, and then I get a nice shape, and it's nice and clean. And so all I do is I'm going to just add some adhesive down to the top there of that one side. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to just line that up. And now I've got my first loop. And I need to do that for every one of these except for one. The last one, on the small one, I am going to just, so this small one of them's going to create a loop, but the other one you are going to do what I said you wouldn't do on the other ones, because that's going to be the part here in the middle, right there. Okay, so this one, you're just going to loop it like that. Okay, and again, that's one of the small ones. One of them's going to be like this, and the other one is going to be looped just back on itself. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create all of these, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to show you how to assemble. All right, so now I've got all of my loops created, and so now I can start my assembly. And so part of the assembly is going to be putting these together like so. Now, there's, again, a couple of ways that you can do this. One of the ways is we can adhere these down. Another way is that we can use a brad. And so all I'm going to do is pull out my cushion here, and I do have some brads. I'm hoping that they're long enough. I'm hoping that the little tails on these brads, these are some that I had just laying around in my stash. I'm hoping that these are going to be long enough. So we're going to give this a try and see if we're successful. You can adhere them. I did do that adhering just on this one, just using, again, the Tombow but I thought that I would go ahead and try to see if we could get this brad option to work as well. So we're just going to place some holes. I probably should do some measurements, but we'll go ahead and I'm going to just eyeball this and see if we can make this work. And if it doesn't, we'll go back to the adhesive method. Okay, so I've created holes in all of these guys, and so what I'm going to do is just try to line these up where I've got the holes lined up here as best as I can, looking for those holes, and then I'm going to put a brad in. Probably the hardest part is just holding all these pieces individually together. Okay, so I think we might end up doing a couple of brads here. So I'm trying to poke this through here. This is the hard part, trying to get it through. So we're going to just kind of work our way through each one of these layers here. And see if we can get that. All right, so I think we've got all the layers on that one. And then I'm going to just see where do I want to put these others here. So I think now I've got that guy through. I think we'll put this one here and then this one over here. So I think we can handle all of those layers. All right. So what I don't think I'm going to be able to do is get these additional layers in on this brad. I think it's too, it's not wide, it's not long enough. So we're going to add probably 2 brads to this and see if we can get it to work. So I just kind of disassembled it, and now I'm going to try and get the brad through on each of the layers. Hopefully I'm staying in camera here. Like so. Okay. So now that I've got that, I'm going to just look and just see, am I happy with kind of the placement? Does everything look okay? And I am pretty happy with that. So before I close this up, I'm going to just turn this over. I'm probably going to lose my brad there. What I did is I cut a 1-inch strip of white, and I took the adhesive sheet and I cut it to 1 inch as well. And then I adhered the adhesive sheet 1-inch strip to the 1-inch strip of the white cardstock. And then what I ended up with is a cardstock on one side and an adhesive piece on the other side. So if any of you had any of these bows when you were a kid, you'll remember that we sort of tore off the paper or the sticky sheet on one side, and it had a backer on the other side so that we could adhere it down. So essentially that's what I'm trying to recreate here, is I'm trying to recreate that. Oops, got to make sure we got our bow going the right direction here. Just double check that since it fell apart a little bit. No, something's not right there. It did not work out. Hold on. Okay, so we got that, like that. Okay, and then we add this guy. The nice thing about the brad is that you actually can move things around and wiggle them around a little bit more than you can if you are using the glue. All right, so I'm just trying to make it look pretty. So that looks really good like that. I feel like they're evenly balanced between the sections. And then I'm going to take my piece of cardstock that has the adhesive on one side. That's the shiny part that you can kind of see there, and a cardstock on the other. I want the cardstock side facing the bow bottom. I want the adhesive, the thing that's protecting the adhesive, to be on the other side. So as you can see, I'm pretty much at the capacity of my brad at this point. I'm not going to be able to get much else on there. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to spread that apart. I'm trying to do it without killing my fingers here. Okay, we're going to take that. And we want it to be pretty secure, so make sure you've got that pretty flat, like so. And so now when you go to apply this to a package, you can just take the adhesive back off and tear it off of this, and you'll have a nice sturdy thing that you can put on top of your package. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so now that we've got that, we've got a few more pieces that we need to add in. So again, we've got our piece here, and these I might see if we can go ahead and glue down instead. And I'll probably use a heavier glue dot on this. So we'll go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and put these two together with some glue, and then those are going to go into the bow like that. So I'm going to get out one of my glue dots, and the reason I'm going to use a glue dot is that it is much more, I'm going to use actually a couple of glue dots. It's a much more sturdy adhesive, and I don't have to wait for it to dry. So I'm going to probably put a few of these down. You also could use red tape, the red backed tape. That would probably be another good choice here, because it's going to be a lot stronger than just a standard Tombow kind of adhesive. But these glue dots are pretty sticky, so I think those will work as well. All right, so again, I'm looking for placement. I want to make sure that I've got a nice bow feeling here. And then I've got these last two. So again, we're going to go ahead and put these two together. And we're going to just sort of figure out where we want to place these in the bow before we commit to gluing them down. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's try some of this is the score tape. I think I want to do this guy this time. I have lots of different adhesives in my collection, so gotta just figure out what is the right one for the right job. So I'll put a couple pieces of score tape down. Score tape is really a really strong adhesive, just like red line tape is. So for a project that might get manhandled a lot or woman handled a lot, moved around a lot, like those glue dots didn't hold. They popped right off. So we're going to go ahead and put some score tape on this as well. This is a really good option for anything that's going to get a lot of handling, whether it be on a card or a scrapbook page, to know that you're going to be able to do that manipulation without it breaking down. So again, we're going to go ahead and place that in like that, and then we will do this guy. Like so. All right, and I think this one Just looking at it, we want it to go in. Oops, careful. Gently, it stuck accidentally to that one bow loop, but it looks like I managed to get it up without causing a problem. Okay, so get this guy in here. And then we're going to add one more in here on this side. And then we're going to add this other last piece in. So we're going to go ahead and take some score tape here. Probably don't need a second piece. We can probably do with that. Right. Stick that in there like that. And then we're going to sort of place this guy in here like so. Okay, that looks good. Again, I'm trying to dry fit it first just so that I know that I'm happy with its placement. So we'll do that. If you did another loop like this, you would see the inside of the bow. That is also perfectly fine if you like that look better. So this is just going to cover the bow, the inside of the bow, a little bit more than if you did another loop there. And again, you can sort of play around a little bit with the shapes of all of the loops and get them, like this one got flattened a little bit, so you can pinch it up, give it a little bit more shape or a little bit more of an angle. And now you have a beautiful bow that will be very easy to reach your finger in and attach using that little 1x1 square of cardstock and an adhesive sheet. So I would say that if I was to go back and do this again, I like the idea of doing the brad so that you can adhere this 1x1 sheet and doing the whole bottom and then using the score tape to get the other pieces in. I think if you use glue, you're going to get really messy all over your fingers and will, I don't know. For me, I'm not sure it would be the cleanest way to do it. So my recommendation is brads and score tape, or score tape all the way, and you can add score tape to the bottom of this that can just be peeled off. So you could put a couple of strips of score tape down here, leave the backer on, and then when you go to put it on your actual gift, you can just peel off the backer of the score tape. That would be another option.